Caffeine. It boosts the release of dopamine, another neurotransmitter that you have up there in the brain. Dopamine is in charge of sensations of euphoria, and coffee also includes antioxidants. That's another factor of why it makes us happy. These antioxidants work throughout the body in diverse ways to prevent or repair damage caused by stress and other factors. Caffeine acts by inhibiting that neurotransmitter adenosine, which induces drowsiness. It attaches to adenosine receptors, causing nerve cells to activate and accelerate neuron firing. As a result, your pituitary gland produces chemicals that stimulate the adrenal glands to create adrenaline. Caffeine has a half-life of roughly 6 hours, so avoid drinking it late in the day if you need to sleep, because the same neurotransmitter, adenosine, is vital for sleep regulation. It's recommended to avoid drinking normal coffee after 2 or 3 p.m. The adrenaline created widens your airways, making it easier for you to breathe. This can boost the amount of oxygen in your bloodstream, which has favorable effect on your brain. As a result, you can think more clearly, solve issues faster, and make judgments very, very fast. A study conducted by the Harvard School of Public Health found that coffee can help people become more positive in general. Researchers discovered a link between caffeine consumption and decreased suicide rates, and discovered that caffeine can have the same effects as a mild antidepressant. It's worth mentioning that multiple previous studies have linked coffee consumption to lower rates of depression in both men and women. The Harvard researchers, though, are not the first to identify a link between caffeine and lower suicide and depression rates. According to the National Institution of Health, they did a study and they found that coffee consumers are less likely to be depressed than non-coffee or decaf coffee drinkers. This could be because caffeine increases the production of serotonin, dopamine, and noradrenaline, the pleasant chemicals in our brain that prescription antidepressants target. In the past, coffee was related to a variety of ailments, including heart disease and asthma. Many of those who took part in those trials, though, also smoked, which may have caused researchers to believe that coffee was to blame for negative consequences. Coffee drinkers are advised, though, to use a paper filter, according to scientists, because unfiltered coffee is linked to an increased risk of premature mortality and can include substances that elevate LDL or bad cholesterol levels. They also warn against using too much cream or sugar. It's advised, though, that certain groups should avoid drinking coffee altogether. Caffeine's effects on children are unknown, and caffeine could be hazardous during pregnancy. And an overdose of caffeine can also create anxiety in those suffering from panic and anxiety disorders. Overall, the evidence suggests that coffee is more beneficial than harmful in terms of our health. So what's the scientific explanation for all this? According to scientists, coffee triggers that production of dopamine in your brain. We talked about that earlier. It generates euphoria, good feelings, and a lot of people associate that with their first cup of coffee. And because of this, coffee is officially classified as a psychoactive drug, along with other psychostimulants such as cocaine and amphetamine, despite the fact that it's not a substance of abuse. Coffee and its dopamine-releasing characteristics make us feel joyful because they can access practically every reward system in our brains. Do you know what's the opposite of coffee? Sneezy. These are interesting things with JC.